Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna be away for a while. It seems that election season is really getting busy for me lately, and I know it's gonna take like a lot of my time away from me. So I know that I won't be, like present on YouTube as much as I wanted to. So I wanted to make a video about something that is near and dear to my heart. Now I know like in a lot of streams that we have, whether if it's like the streams that we do with like Dusty Spins or Groovy Lisa or Joe Mayo or Doc Dacus. That there's this thing that we do all the time, and it's sort of like a way to like break the ice and like something to make you smile and stuff like that. And it's usually in a form of holding whatever you have of the Partridge Family um, record and stuff like that. But I noticed that every time that a lot of people that have done this, I noticed that none of us has really made a video actually talking about one of these albums. So I wanted to come on here and talk about my experience at least with this album, the first one. So I remember this was like in 1992. I want to say I was like 9 years old, going on to 10. I was with my dad, and he was like going through some 45s that he had in his collection and stuff like that. And hey, buddy. And he was like, he handed me a 45, and he says, "Here, I think you'll like this." And so he gave me this 45 of I Think I Love You, backed by the song Somebody Wants to Love You by a band called the Partridge Family. Now, I never heard about the Partridge Family, so I was like, well, who are these people? And it was like, well, they used to be, there was a show back in the 70s, and they're called the Partridge Family, but they had like a hit song with this one. And so, here, take it. Like, I think you'll like it. And it came with a picture sleeve as well. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. So I went back home because I lived with my grandmother at the time, and I took the record out. I listened to it on the record player and put the headphones on, and I was listening to it. And I was like, I love this song, and I was like, this is a great tune. I can't believe I never heard this song before. I Think I Love You. And the cool thing was around that time, 92, 93, I was totally getting into this thing that used to come on Nickelodeon, and it was called Nick at Night. Nick at Night was that part of the night after 8 o'clock where it went from showing the shows for the kids to showing the shows that like the adults used to love back in the day. So, and I remember specifically the time schedule that it was around the time. It was like 8 o'clock would be the Partridge Family. 8:30 was Get Smart. 9 o'clock was like Dragnet. 9:30 I think would have been Bob Newhart, and then it will go like Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore, and then one other show that I'm spacing out on. And I just remember watching those shows back in the 90s, and I was like, I love these shows. These are like way better than what was being on TV around that time. And the one I always looked forward to was 8 o'clock, Partridge Family. And so I was like really becoming a fan of the show, and I was like, I want to get some of these music on like on cassette, because like I even though I had like a record player, I was still listening to cassettes. I didn't graduate to CDs yet, not until a couple of years later. And so on cassette, my dad got me the first album, and I just remember like playing that cassette all the time in my Walkman and stuff like that. And it was like something that really helped me out, because I remember I was going through an illness around that time as a kid, so I had to be home a lot. So I just remember just being at home a lot doing my schoolwork, and then listening to Partridge Family while doing my schoolwork, and then watching the Partridge Family like at nighttime before I went to bed and stuff. And just really loving this album so much. And so as years went by, I just remember like seeing like I want to get this like on vinyl one of these days. And I was lucky to have gotten my vinyl copy, this copy, when it was about 15, 16 years old, and I just play this album so much. Like it's a great album. It's released through Bell Records, which is a subsidiary of Arista. Look at nice, gorgeous Bell um, label, silver label. And so, let me talk to you a little bit about this album. This is the first album. It came out in 1970, and the main producer is a guy named Wes Farrell. And this is a guy that was like really starting to make a name of himself in the LA scene, producing like a lot of other people and stuff. And to put together the music, they brought together and a really cool arrangers like Mike Malvin and Billy Strange and Don Peake. And if you Billy Strange is someone who was like very, very instrumental with working on Nancy Sinatra and Frank Sinatra recordings. Um, Mike Malvin is a really amazing keyboardist. As a matter of fact, you may not know who he is, but you may know his daughter. His daughter is Wendy Malvin of like Prince and the Revolution. So she was her dad was like a very big musician, and Billy Strange and Mike Malvin also played on Pet Sounds and stuff like that. And you even have like a wrecking crew on it. You have like Hal Blaine, you have Larry Ketchell, Joe Osborne, Lou Sheldon, Tommy Tedesco. A lot of the guys that play like on Monkeys and Beach Boys and Mamas and Papas on this album. And this album also has like a lot of great songs on it. The first song on the album is Brand New Me, which I remember that episode. Brand New Me appeared on an episode where a skunk got into their bus, um, and so they reeked of skunk, and they're about to play for some children in the hospital. So they had to perform inside of a room where they did like all the the surgeries and stuff like that, and the kids had to watch through like these glass windows because they smelled so bad. But they performed the song Brand New Me, and I was like, oh, that's a beautiful song. The next song I feel like is one of the most heartfelt songs on this album, which is Point Me in the Direction of Albuquerque. And I just remember when I started to really learn how to play guitar more, that was one of those songs that I really looked at like, I'm going to learn how to play that song. That song's amazing and so beautiful. And it's written by Tony Romeo, who also wrote the song I Think I Love You. The next song on this album is Bandala. And I remember that episode too because that's when there was a mistake where the Partridge Family was supposed to play at one venue, but they ended up being sent to Detroit. And originally the Temptations was supposed to play there, but they were sent to like another place. So they befriended a great comedian during that episode was Richard Pryor. And I think that was like probably the first time I saw Richard Pryor as a kid. Or maybe I've seen him earlier, probably in Brewster's Million, or one of those movies that he did with Gene Wilder. But I just remember, seeing him in that show and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And they did like a Bandala song, and I think that's sort of like their sort of take on little bit of R&B, had like a little bit of a reggae kind of feel to it, and so I love that song. Next song is I Really Want to Know You, which is like a ballad written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Well. And it's a really good song. It's not one of my favorites on the album. It's one of those songs that I really do skip over a bit, but it's a beautiful song nonetheless. It's a great one. The song that really won my heart on this album, and I performed it in college for my voice teacher, and he loved it, and he didn't know it was a Partridge Family song. It's called Only a Moment Ago, written by Terry Cashman and Tommy West. And I just remember just like loving that song so much. And those words, I relate to those words so much. Like, why has the music stopped? Where did all the happy people go? I know they were there, songs everywhere, only a moment ago. And it's a song that really brings a tear to my eye when I sing it. I love it. The final song on side one is a song called I Hear Your Heartbeat. And this is like, a very rocking kind of song on the album. And there's this thing that the guitarist does. I don't know who's the main guitar riff on that song, but that when I heard that riff as a kid, I thought that they were about to kick into Mysterious Ways by U2, because it had that kind of a guitar thing. Ding, 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 ding. And I thought that, oh my god, it sounds like U2. Wow, they're ahead of their time. And this is like a 1970s album. um, and okay, so the first song on by two is "I'm on the Road," and I love this song so much. I just love how perfectly instrumentated it is, and it's a song that I still struggle to play on guitar or any instrument. Um, and I love that Steve McShnee plays it a lot during Ski Lodge. I adore. I'm so happy that he does that. And then the next one is "To Be Lovers," and this is a song that sort of grew on me. I remember hearing it before and wasn't really into it, but then as years went by, I was like, "This is a really cool song. I love it," and I play it all the time. The next song is the B side to "I Think I Love You," which is "Somebody Wants to Love You." Um, and I sort of vividly remember that episode where I think it was a girl that was had a crush on Keith Partridge, but Keith Partridge had a crush on somebody else. And then I think when everything started to screw up in the thing, he went on the ride in the bus, and that song played. And at the end, he ended up going with the girl that loves him and stuff, and realizing that she was pure. Um, so that was good. And then the next song is, of course, "I Think I Love You." And of course, we all know that episode where I think it was some type of a girl that he was into. She was like being very feminist, and feel like "I Think I Love You" was like an anti-feminist song. And so he just went out and said, you know what, we're going to perform this song. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it kicks in with ba 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 ba. Don't ask me to sing the song because I won't on this stream. This is not even a stream; it's a video. The last song on this album is "Singing My Song," and I also remember Stephen Schnee playing it during Ski Lodge at one time. And another nice little rocker to end the end this album, and great vocals and stuff. And so this is an album that has always been near and dear to my heart. And it's one of those albums where I am not afraid to go out and tell people, hey, I love the Partridge Family. They are amazing. They put out great songs, and this is just like a taste of other great songs that we'll be hearing later on, because they had like a lot of other great songs throughout their career, like "I Woke Up and Love This Morning," "Echo Valley 26809," "Am I Losing You?" Um, it's one of those nights, and I know I'm missing a few in my memory and stuff like that. And they did like a really beautiful version of "Cherish" by the Association. I remember that. So this is an amazing album. If you don't have it in your collection or your library, I this is one that I would recommend seeking out, because I love it, and I feel like you will love it too if you really love that great music, especially if you love that Wrecking Crew kind of sound that I love. So thank you so much. And tell me what you feel about, if you have this album. Tell me, like, what are your memories of this album, and I'd love to know. So thank you so much. Have a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Partridge Family.